I need lip balm. You're drinking water again. That's good. Tomorrow's the first day of summer. It's the longest day. It's the summer solstice. It's the longest day. And then on south of the equator, it's starting winter. So they'll start their trek to brighter days as it goes on, and we'll start ours descension to darker days. It's gonna be a freaking hot dude. It's gonna be nutty, dude. I'm already seeing weird stuff everywhere. People just are out of sorts, man. I was happy to see the scumbag president's scumbag son got indicted. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. BureauBrats, I tell ya. You can't trust any of them. There ain't such thing as a good one. They say, I love how they say that. Well, there's good ones. There's good ones. There's good police officers. Really? Because they don't know their buddy's a dirty, rotten one. You know, New Mexico, I see all the time articles, you know, state police gets arrested for frickin' raping female inmate. Just all kinds of just people don't got no sense. They just do what they want. They have no filter. They just go around, do whatever they want. And some people have the same mentality as that 3-year-old little boy and 3-year-old little girl. And they're just like, you know, want to take their diaper off and run around naked and look for places to put their parts. And then they just have always done that. Now you got all these grown-ups walking around chasing sensation, acting like a bunch of creepy, freaking dirty perverts. Truths are coming out, man. They can't stay secret. They can't. People aren't smart enough to perpetuate lies for extended periods of time. Because it's easier to keep track of facts. It's much, much easier to keep track of facts. Just stay in integrity. Just say things how they happen, how you see them, as you interpret them, you know. People just make stuff up out of the clear blue sky. It's pretty funny. I told a young gal today I've had an opportunity to be around some young people lately, and this young gal, she's like 15, and I was telling her, I said, you know how I know BureauBrats suck? Anybody who works at the state, county, federal, any of those, they all suck. Everybody sucks. I suck. But there's like, you know, scales of suck. And some people are over 50.001% suck. So that makes them mostly sucky. And there's a lot of people that are just kind of sucky sometimes. Like, I'm really sucky on rare occasions. But I can be shitty sucky, man. Yeah. I try not to go to those places. I'm just a verbal I just talk a lot I just tell people about their behavior and they get real upset about it. I'm like, okay, so let me understand. This is how I am interpreting our exchange here. And they don't like it. Like, I do something, I did it today. I take pictures whenever I see county employees. Like, county, and I saw one a couple weeks ago at the grocery store. You know, it's not your POV. It's not your private vehicle. It's not yours. So I like to post those on Instagram. I like to post those pictures. Like, why are you there in the middle of the day? You know, why are you there in the middle of the day? Why don't you drive your own car to the grocery store? Are you buying your lunch? Are you buying lunch for the office? So the taxpayers of Taos County get to pay for you to get in a county car. Use gas, because you don't pay for gas, you don't pay for the tires, and you get them replaced every 6 months, regardless of how many miles. I know how this stuff works, man. I know how this stuff works. I've seen it my whole life. The club's breaking, the club's getting scared. The club is becoming disheveled. Because these people are, they get hired for not, maybe at one time when they started, they were like a person of an integrity. Maybe they were. Maybe that's how it started out in life. And at some point, they found that the easier, softer way would be a better way to go. That they could just, let this person go. See, I'm all for rules, regulations, policies, and procedures as long as they're in place to keep people safe. Being in, keeping people safe, like I get the, 25 mile an hour, there's a big turn up there because I learned that lesson. I get that. I get physics, But when there's like, lists of things that people need to do to navigate in their life, whether it's being a homeowner or a business owner, just a regular everyday person, there's these hoops that BureauBrats like to put people through. And it reminds me of when I was like 15 years old. And I'd want to go out and have coffee, go out to Denny's or go out to Harry's, whichever it was, because we'd rotate between the three of them, because there's 2 Denny's and a Harry's. So when they get sick of us at one place, we'd go to the other. We just, this was back in 1988, 1989. So we just sit there, talk, tell stories, smoke cigarettes, drink coffee, watch people. That's what I did when I was 15. And, where's my phone? I broke my screen today. It freaking sucked. I'm so sad. Right across the bottom. It like cracked there. I think it did it in my pocket, and then it cracked all the way across there. And I was like, damn it. It hasn't impeded operation though. So 15. Oh, and Mom what she would do is, I say, Mom, I'm gonna go out. Eric's gonna come pick me up. We're gonna go out and we're gonna go to get coffee. And Mom would say, okay, all right. I said, and I'd be like, can I get $1? And she'd be like, all right, but first you have to do the dishes. And I'd be like, shit, all right. And then so I'd hurry up and do the dishes. And then she'd be like, okay, and then you would have to, and then she would like keep coming up with stuff. And finally, I would have enough. I would be like, that's it. Tell me everything that I need to do. Tell me everything that I need to do. Because, see, I have a brother that's a Virgo, that's a BureauBrat. He's a lawyer. He's in Europe right now. Isn't that funny? He's in France for the Freemason birthday celebration. I think that's kind of ironic. Yeah, they're on a nice 3-week vacation abroad. I sent my sister-in-law a text message because I saw that. And I wanted to send my niece, her daughter, I wanted to send her daughter something for her birthday. And it was so funny. The way people talk to me just cracks me up. I sent her a message. I said, Anna, I'm going to have a halfway to a honey 100 birthday party, April 9th, 1924. I'd love it if I at least got to see you and the girls. Please come if you can. Invitations to follow. Right? And then she said, how are you and Loretta? I said, we are finally in a good place. It's been a long, difficult road without any support from anyone. Right? That's what I said. You know what she said? This is okay, cue mini violin, all right? Here's the mini violin. It's the world's smallest violin playing just for me, Ma. Right? This is what I get back. It can be tough, but really rewarding. Very glad you are doing very well. Very proud. I was like, how do you know what tough is? How? She works for the Office of Engineering for the state of California and has for like 20 years, you know? I mean, she makes like $150,000 a year. I mean, it's like, what do you know what tough is? Besides the fact she's married to my brother. That guy, when I was growing up, he this is the kind of guy he is. And so whenever I go into like when there's situations and these BureauBrats, they come out with their clipboards and they have their list. You know, I'm like, I wonder if you talk to their siblings and ask them like what douches they were when they were kids. Okay, because my brother, he would do things like hold me down. Because he was bigger than me. He's like 5'11", 6 foot, pin on his shoes. I'm only 5'3", 3/4, and the guy used to freaking overpower me and stuff like that all the time. He used to bully me and push me around. He used to hold me down and he'd pull on all of my toes until they popped. And toes aren't supposed to pop, and it hurt. And I couldn't. I was powerless. I was completely powerless. Now, if we met today, the situation would be different because he's got bad knees. He didn't take care of himself. He didn't go the way of the spirit. He went the way of the ego. You know, too many glasses of scotch and shit like that. You know, too many days of living those best days of your lives without putting in the work and having the discipline to maintain yourself so you can continue to have days of your lives. We're seeing evidence everywhere. It's all over the place, regardless of whether it's staged or not. I mean, we're seeing it. There's 5 people lost on a little boat that wanted to go down to see the Titanic. A ticket costs $250,000 for a person to just sit on there and to do that, right? And I'm just like, no, man, the cracks of society are too big. There are consequences to people being sensationalists. And we're going to see direct evidence of it. Other things my brother used to do, he used to freaking, like, he was a wrestler, so he would, like, go running in a sauna suit and and then he'd come home and he'd take off his sauna suit and he'd take off all of his clothes that he had on that were soaking wet, and he'd freaking, like, throw them on me and stuff like that. I about throw up, man. I hate other people's sweat, man. I don't need your nasty on me. And then we'd play games. And he would cheat. One time we were playing poker, and he literally tried to stack the deck and made it so he would have a royal flush and spades. But he misdealt, so it gave me the royal flush. And we'd get Trivial Pursuit. We had that Trivial Pursuit game, and he'd just sit in his room and he'd read the questions and the answer. He would study the cards. And for a long time I just thought he was ambitious, but it's just so he could know him when we went to go play. And when I see characteristics of these people that behave these ways, and they don't have any loyalty, I'm not being hey, no love lost here, man. He threw me away years ago. He did. Because people don't like it when they treat me badly, and then I talk about how they treat me and I don't like it. Just don't treat me that way. I won't have nothing to talk about, right? Right? I mean, he got mad at me one time. We didn't speak for a year and a half. I called him a fucking piece of shit. And he's one of those guys that is like, don't you know who I am? He's one of those guys. Right? And, I called him and I asked him for help. To help me find a place, for Mom. And he said, no, she's your problem. You deal with her and all that lovely lawyer heart space stuff. And I said, no, he said, you know what, Margie? He said, you haven't worked in 2 years. This was like 2019 or 18. And I'd moved to Oregon in 2000. I couldn't leave Mom, man. I was so bound, and nobody cared to even understand where I was coming from. And it was so hard to go from being fully ambitious for decades to having to just stop. God said, nope. Your life's going to be a lot different than whatever you thought you were going to do. So, He said, you haven't worked in 2 years. And our water had been off, so I'd been going down and getting buckets in the stream so we could flush the toilet. And I had to wash Mom's hair over a stool in the backyard, you know, and I had to do all these things that were so painfully uncomfortable because I wanted to do better for my mom, and I couldn't because I couldn't go to work to make the money. And it just was all these circumstances that just sucked. And I started to see how the systems were not made to help anybody. You know? There are federal... There's systems in the VA office, the Veteran Associate... these people get paid a lot of money to help veterans. But you can't... But I was almost homeless. No thanks to those fucking idiots. Okay, but they still get paid, right? You know, people have to close their business and comply with lists and do all this, go through all these hoops because somebody somewhere says something and they keep pulling shit out of their hat. And then this office isn't congruent with this office, but they work together. And then they like to say things like, we're here to work with you. We want you to it is our best interest that they say this, right? And then there's like, here's a list. Lip service. We want you to succeed. We want you to be go local business in Taos. They're making big mistakes, man. This community could seriously be a flagship. It could seriously be a community that other places in the United States could look at as a model and be like, you know what? It works for them. Why don't we try it? Because stuff ain't working here. It ain't working anywhere, man. People don't have good orderly direction. They're not making good choices. And as the temperatures get hotter, they're just going to lose their shit more. I'm not hearing about how more people are meditating, how more people are having a spiritual discipline and practice because they feel, you know, I see all these stories about the Schumann resonance and how it's doing all these weird patterns and stuff. It's like, okay, so that's a whole lot of people that are ungrounded, right? That's a whole lot of, you know, disassociated energy that's, you know, as above, so below. What are people doing? What are they doing? Are they being a service? When I get crazy, that's the best thing I can do is go, hey, what can I do to help you? Because I'm not thinking about me. What can I do to help you? Let me help you lift that. Let me help you push that. Let me pick that up for you. Let me do that for you. I'll go to that. Brrr. What would the world look like if more people did that? If they went out and like, you know, they know that an old lady lives up the street and she don't got nobody in her life. You know, make her a salad, you know, invite her out, you know, bring a little chair and an umbrella, you know, come on out. Tell me stories about your life. You're not an insignificant human being. You matter. I watched a cute little video. I almost cried today. The old dude was 99 years old and this guy was talking to him, you know. And he's like, you know, what's the, you know, about his life and stuff. And the guy's like talking about how lonely he is. And, you know, 99, 15, 12, 8, 36, 47. People get lonely. I get lonely. There's an acronym, HALT. Be careful not to get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. I've been all four many times. That's a place I don't like to go. We're headed towards the collective wave of bullshit. It's happening. We're in it. A lot of us have been talking about... I've been talking about this 6 years. Other people have been talking about it. I've been talking about it on YouTube 6 years. I've been talking about it much longer in real life for much longer. I was in the Air Force calling... Controlled demolition? Controlled demolition? What the hell is that? That's some bullshit. I was in the Air Force saying, we attacked ourselves so we could go over there and start some shit. We shot ourselves in the foot and said a guy in a cave did it over there. And America went, kill. Kill. And then they freaking went over there and killed, and then their little babies are like, dude, we have no business being over here. All this war stuff is nonsense. But then they liked it. A lot of them liked it, and then they're like, "Oh shit, I liked it." And they did a lot of stuff that they can't tell their wives and kids. They don't. A lot of these guys do stuff. They get riled up in these wartime situations, and that's why they're so tight-lipped, because you will fucking hate your father and your husband if you know the shit that they do, and it's all for a paycheck. And then they come back here and they're like, "Oh my God, I did all these terrible things," and then freaking these people are having a parade for me. It's weird. Where's how come where are the rest of the remorseful veterans? Because nothing is going to change unless that people acknowledge they're a problem, and us going in places we have no business being and killing a whole bunch of civilians, and Obama, he liked doing it with his little drones. That was his thing. Let's just remote control kill people. But I'm an eloquent speaker, Obama. They're all scumbags, dude. They're all scumbags. Every single one of them. Nope. They're all. Let me tell you a story about how I learned, because when I grew up in Redding, California, they had Officer Don Ostendorf come into the classroom, right? And he'd bring in his guitar and he'd sing the Peanut on the Track song, and then he had all these little catchy little tunes that he'd sing, and so all the kids are like, "Oh, look, policemen! Policemen are nice. Policemen are nice. They're not bad. They're great," right? And he'd go to that was his job. I don't even think he'd just go around to school district and sing his little songs. So all the little kids would get their early programming that police aren't bad. Police are good. Police are fun. Listen to the policeman, right? So when I was about 21 years old, I'd gone out for the night. And I had a roommate, and I got home. It was I don't know, it was like 1:30. I was trying to be quiet. And we lived on the second floor of this apartment complex. Had a rad view, man. Right next to anyway, and I was walking up the stairs. It went zigzag, you went up one direction, there's a little plateau, and then you went up the other direction for the to go to the front door, and our front door stuck. It stuck. It got gummed up in there somehow. And so even in the middle of the day, any time of day, it would do the stick thing, right? And I was freaking faded. I had gotten a ride home, but I was completely inebriated. I was drunk. And so this police car drives by and puts its light on me at the door, right? Shines its light. And then hits its sirens, and I'm like, ugh. Because I'm a trauma kid, man. I'm like, oh shit, I don't like getting in trouble. I'm not doing nothing here. I'm trying to go into my own house here, right? So I'm wasted. And they're like, come back downstairs. I was just like, all right. So I go back downstairs. There's a male and a female. Nice butch chick. See, that's why there's a lot of days I wish I was not gay. I would just wish I was just straight. Marge, just see if you could just turn something off in your brain and just be all about hairy butts and stuff like that. Just be like, yay. And it just, the idea of it just isn't ever sound appealing to me. And that's okay. And so when, let me get back to my. A lot of ways that I see other people is like, dude, I don't want people to think I'm like them in all these other areas based on our one congruent common personality trait. So, anyway, I mean, for a long time, I tried to be like more feminine. It didn't work. I had really long hair. I have great hair, but I was very uncomfortable because I have a lot of hair and I'm a hothead, so I can't do that. You know, I've tried to be all the things that people wanted me to be in order just to be able to participate in their lives, but it didn't work out. And I got okay with it. I accept it. I'm happy. I'm in a good place. So, they called me down, and then the chick put me in handcuffs. All right? And I'm nervous. I'm drunk, and I'm nervous. And I'm rocking back and forth. And they have me right on a curb, and it's one of those rounded curbs, right? That kids used to skateboard and stuff off of. So I'm standing right there, and I'm rocking back and forth, and I just step off that curb, and because I fell out of a tree when I was 15, my ankle gave out, and I freaking just went down on my face, and they both just stood next to me and laughed. And I was like, I live right there. I was going home. I did everything I was supposed to do. I wasn't out driving. I wasn't, I was just minding my own business, and now my ankle hurts and my face is busted open, and you fucking pigs are laughing it up because you have nothing better to do. You could have gone upstairs, knocked on the door, my roommate would have answered, and that would have been up. But you have these fucking mentalities. They're like cats that like to play with mice. And you know why cats like to play with mice? They love the smell of fear. It turns them on. They get all excited. They get all aroused. They get all, yay, I'm going to hurt this thing and I'm really happy about it. And sometimes they'll draw it out. Human beings have that same frequency in it. And then you have these paradigms and these systems where they hire like-minded, and then there's cancers that are in these organizations. And when there's too much crap and not enough cream, this is the world we get. And I don't know how people are supposed to maintain their patience, because people really are feeling the pressure. While a lot of people are sitting behind little cherry desks with fancy little roll office chairs behind their computers, playing office, but they're not doing the work. And this is the stuff that needs to shift. You're going to have problems, folks. You're going to have problems. It's going to get worse. It's not getting better, man. It's not all love and light. It ain't all lead and light. So, BureauBrats, city planners, all of you guys driving around in cars that we pay for, But there's a lot of people that don't even have food on their tables, right? Can't fix the roads, but you want to invite people to your town? I'm talking to the marketing committee of Taos County. Why would you invite somebody to your house when you have shit on your front doorstep? Because you got shit on your front doorstep all over this county. All on your guys' watch. You guys, so you come in at 9 o'clock, you cruise through your emails. Oh, we got a meeting. Oh, well, it's all right. I got something else to do. Let's cancel. The kids gotta this, or I supported people in IT, and I've always been the single person, so I never took a lot of time off. Right? People are not at work more than they are at work. these days. I was in the military, man. People had the only difference between civilian life and military life. You don't have to make your own dentist appointments. You don't have to make your own eye appointments. You're all just in the computer, and then when your flag comes up, be here at this time. Pick out your glasses, no cost to you. Chiropractor, no, doesn't cost nothing to you. Why? Because you're just so willing and able to go over there and kill people that have no business dying. But since you're going to perpetuate that story, these are the rewards you get. Are people getting it yet? Because they're perpetuating this World War III bullcrap. And you know what? World War III is of the spiritual variety. Satan wins every time people just keep going out and just doing all those things for them without working for it. You know? People aren't doing the work to get all the good stuff that they're doing. Right? I gotta tell you, we're taking time off and we're traveling. Oh, really? You work from home. This is what they do all day long. They make over $300,000 a year. What are you getting time off for? And the whole world's doing this. Everyone's like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I'm like, fucking from what, dude? From what? People in my world, my Earth Angel, she's trying to move from freaking Chicago, Illinois down to Arizona, 75 years old, all by herself. She helps so many people. You think all these people that she helps could show up at her house and like help her pack a box? Or just spend time with her and just be like, unload and tell me everything get it all out of your head, because I know it's got to be scary. You know? Because I'm sure this isn't how you planned on your life being, you know, when you're 75. Right? People don't want to give their time up for other people's. All they want is people. It's just it's a positive and a minus. It's an energy suck. It's like people can't fill themselves up inside, so they're looking for all this external stuff. So they're buying all this stuff. People are not living within their means. They bought in the last couple years. All these people got all this extra money for unemployment and shit like that. I ain't getting nothing. I ain't getting none of that. They did all this shit, you know, and then they bought all this stuff here in Mexico. They bought all these like all-terrain vehicles, $50,000. Like these, it's like, what the fucking, who, what the, are you kidding? Your kid can't read, but let's go drive around in that. What the fuck shit, really? What the, just people not live, and that's what the military perpetuates too, is materialism. I can't tell you how many people that I worked with every 2 years got a brand new truck, traded in for a brand new one. They just got bigger and more ridiculous as far as maintenance concerned and practicality or anything like that. I drove a Ford Taurus, and that thing got through 18-inch snowbanks while I saw these big stupid trucks in their ditches. Right? Because people just being people, learning lessons, and I learned a lot of lessons, so I just tell people everything I know. That's all I'm doing, just sharing my experience, and my experience, and what, man, I'm so tired of people getting jobs because of who, and it's always been like that. It's just gotten worse. We're just at a crux. We're at a collection point. Very, very unqualified people are in positions of what they deem themselves as. I don't give them any authority. I do not give any police officer any authority over me. I will comply. I'm not a fucking idiot. But the thing of it is, in this situation, you put me in handcuffs, you take that fucking badge off. I don't care who you are. I don't care. You take that badge off. You take that uniform off, because of my experience that I've had with police officers not being all wonderful and great. This conversation will go much different. But you hide behind that badge. You hide behind that badge. You hide behind that uniform. You hide behind all that gear. And how many people have you really helped in your career? How many? Because I see a lot of cops that eat their feelings. And they don't do that. They don't do that if they're extra helpful. People don't do that stuff if they're extra helpful. That's a lot of resources. That's a lot of heart attacks waiting to happen. That's a lot of $80,000 trucks. That's a lot of misappropriation of funds because people are not doing the job that they had signed up to do. And if you're and I was that young person I was talking to, she was telling me about how she has relatives in her family that are exceptions to the rule, and those are the people that I appreciate and I respect, and that they said if they're going to do a job that they better be physically capable of doing that job. Otherwise, don't do it. And they don't. Crime, I don't even know what role they serve in New Mexico because Satan's winning in New Mexico. The murder rate, I wonder what the murder rate is. The robbery crime rate, freaking overdoses, missing people. That's just a whole lot of sad people. It's a lot of sad people. It's a lot of people that have had a lot of things happen in their lives that if they just knew how to talk about it, change their thinking a little bit, change some habits, stop doing some things and start doing some other things. That just because you've lived your life a certain kind of way, that doesn't mean that your life has to continue that way forever and ever. I think I'm getting ready. I think I'm getting in the headspace and the energy shifted enough. I for years I was at GSR and AA meetings. I would go to places like Columbus, Nebraska, for freaking area meetings. That's like the business side. If you think AA meetings are boring, try going to the business side. You know, what they do with all that money that they collect in the baskets. You know, have their little conference here and sell their little mugs here, but they really don't have the idea of what true service is. That's for sure. Oh well, what are you gonna do? They're just living that good life. I know the consequence of it. I know I sound harsh a lot of times. I just understand the consequence of living for yourself. And I also know the value and see the rewards in what it's like to live for others, with others. It's a lot more rewarding, man. I see people every day chew themselves up from, I want to drink today. Every day it's, I don't want to drink today, but I'm gonna. I want to drink today. I know what that's like, man. I think about how many people would be relieved of their freaking abnormalities of just freaking lack of spirituality just because of that fucking bottle. And I know it. I know that obsession of craving. I got it myself, man. That's why I don't want people to drink, because if they're anything like me, to drink is to die. And the way that people are drinking these days, man, I just saw that Days of Our Lives actor, young guy in his 30s, I think, dead. Drank too much. All these old people, all these like actors and artists and stuff like that. They're all like shaking, and it's all wet brain, man. Too many parties, too many drugs, stuff where that's your brain. Doctors used to tell people that. They used to say, hey, you got to exercise, you got to stay fit, you got to eat right, you can't drink alcohol. And then at some point, they all freaking most of them sold out. So they started taking paychecks and started pushing drugs because, bonuses and all that. All that stuff that people say doesn't happen really happens. Incentives is what they call them. Hopefully people will come into it. That's what life, every day, as long as you wake up, you got a chance to turn it around and do something different every single day. I'm talking to myself a lot of times when I say these things, so... Anyway, that's about all I got for now. Hope you have a rad day. Peace.